Together, we work as one. For our communities worldwide. We work tirelessly for better laws and protection, better representation, better funding and access, better emergency relief and response, better knowledge and understanding. We amplify a global cause. We advocate and carry the voices of activists. We support a growing global movement and celebrate LGBTIQ lives everywhere. We won't stop until we achieve our mission: equality and justice. Together for better LGBTIQ lives outright.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer Liu, the new director for Asia programs at Outright International. As this is the very first time Outright has a regional director come from the Global South, I think we would have a round of applause if we were all in the same space. Of course, I hope in the very near future we could be all in the same space. So this is a significant change for Outright. I'm humbled and honored to have this opportunity to work with my talent and passionate colleagues at Outright and our excellent and persistent local partners in the region. And I hope we can create more collaboration and partnership in the region, deeper and broader. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Taipei, Taiwan. My parents' generation came from an authoritarian era, and most of people who grew up in that period hesitate to participate in any social movements and political activities. However, I feel I'm very fortunate to have two open-minded parents who support me being who I am, even when they were frustrated about my sexual orientation when I was young. Even when they didn't understand what I was doing or what was my job, what did I do every day. They didn't really understand, but they support me because I'm their loved one. Because I came from a very unique family. My younger sister had the most severe heart disease in Taiwan, and my family, especially my mother, took care of her for 20 years. She's a miracle, and not only a medical miracle, but also a miracle of my life. I choose to be an activist, and some people say human rights defenders, or we say in Taiwan, we say rebel. It's because I wanted to find a community that I can fit in, and I can find a meaning. As a young lesbian teenager, I felt very lonely and scared of being different. I believe not only when I was young, but Also, a lot of young teenagers right now, they still feel the same way. It was because I know people might die without any notice. That was my life experience, so I wanted to do as much as I could to make this world a better place, or have nothing to regret. It's a personal goal. I don't want to be like regret when I died. So, which is also something I learned from my severely sick sisters. Seize every opportunity we have, because we don't know how long we are gonna live. So I joined my first LGBT community and organization when I was, I think, 18 years ago, which is 22, almost 22. No, when I was 18 years old, so which is 22 years ago. Okay, so which is Taiwan Tongzhi Hotline Association. Tongzhi means LGBTIQ plus Mandarin pronunciation. This is a collective terms in Mandarin. So Hotline very soon became my second home and really let me understand how it feels and empowers people when you are accepted unconditionally. So now I want to share how and when I met Arai. It was 2014. I actually got two life-changing invitations in 2014. So the first one was from Grace, who is my colleague right now. I think it's from Grace and Jessica. I believe they discussed about that. So at that time, Jessica and Grace invited me to participate in Advocacy Week in New York. So the moment I received that information, I was like, oh my God, it looked so fun and meaningful. Although I didn't know anything about Advocacy Week, I didn't know how much work we need to do. And I know nothing about that. But I have to try. I feel like I have to try it. Also, of course, I wouldn't say like, who would reject a chance to go to New York City. So I can. I arrived in New York in 2014. And I found there were only two Asian activists in that advocacy week. We had more after. So I came to like Advocacy Week several times, but the very first time, really, we only have two. One was me, and the other was Ryan from ASEAN Seljuk Caucus, and we both are still in the movement. So I think it means attending Advocacy Week was the right choice, and also it's a good investment for the movement. So that was also my very first time in a snowing city. I didn't prepare well, totally not. I was so cold and I couldn't walk too fast because my shoes were also come from a tropical country, so they didn't know how to function in a snowing city and snowing days. And because there were only two activists from Asia, we literally needed to attend in almost every meeting to maintain the Asians' representation. But I learned a lot, like a lot. Advocacy Week was totally eye-opening experience for me. We had the role play, and we pretend we were the officials at the UN, and we discuss about the vocal topic in the regions. Also, as a Taiwanese, we usually are not allowed to participate all kinds of international institutes and also organizations. And as a queer woman activist, I have been excluded from all kinds of systems, decision-making occasions, and a lot of different discussion. So these two identity became so similar to me in that year. And I started to thinking about how I could emerge both of them. I learned advocacy skill and how to create a new narrative for International Human Rights Day. And also, I learned how to elaborate more LGBT rights, on human rights, and I met a lot of activists worldwide. Also, I met Abby Bishop, who is my colleague right now as well. I know some of you must know her. So Abby invited me to Seattle and visit the LGBT caucus in the House of Washington State. And then I was thinking, they have an LGBT caucus in their state congress. This is very cool and inspiring. I want this to happen in Taiwan too. So that linked to my second invitation in 2014. I received another invitation for running office at the end of 2014. So after the visit from Seattle, and I was so inspired, and that's why I decided to run the office in Taiwan as the first group of out lesbian candidates in our general election. So after my political campaign, I expanded my political network, I learned the campaign skill, and we successfully raised the visibility of marriage equality in Taiwan. Also, I see the opportunities. We had a new president, we had new and young legislator in the parliament, so we saw we thought probably this is the timing for us to push the marriage equality bill again. So my Taiwan colleagues, and I start our marriage campaign. We established Marriage Equality Coalition Taiwan, which was one of the leading coalition to push the marriage equality in Taiwan. And so thanks to the strong connections we made in both Advocacy Week and the political campaign, we received tremendous help from so many people. For example, we worked with Freedom to Marry Global, Outright, Human Rights Campaign, Yes Campaign in Australia, and the referendum team from Ireland. So to cut long story short, so if I continue blah, 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 that would be like another 1 hour, I think. So to cut a long story short, I believe you all know Taiwan won same-sex marriage in 2019 and become the first in Asia to allow same-sex couple to get married. We haven't achieved equality yet, but it's on the way. And the law changed the whole society, and right now more and more people understand and the love touching stories in the society. So I want to say is when I got invitation from Grace and Jessica in 2014, I couldn't imagine Taiwan could legalize the marriage law after 5 years. But now, when I look at what we have done, when I look back, everything seems connected. We make impact together and even amplify them. And this amplifying effect is exactly one of the Outright's values. And the themes of our summit this year, it's like a ripple. You might not know what you will achieve now, but the result will shortly surprise you. Many people ask me why I could not stop and continue my devotion. And I know my colleagues, not only outright, but also in Taiwan, they all devote themselves. But I'm very lucky to be one of the faces of the movement. So I receive all kinds of questions, and a lot of people ask me why you can do this, continuously. I think it's because I have so many partners. In this challenging pathway, I'm not only working by myself, but with countless partners. We learn from each other and support each other. And when we are frustrated, and we're frustrated a lot because changing society it's a no end in sight. And it's we don't know when we can achieve our goal, and we don't know how long it will take. If anyone asks you, how can you change the specific law for how long? I don't know. But we create the changes together, but also make mistakes. And it's okay to make mistakes because that's how we can learn from each other. We can remind each other. As long as we trust each other, we can work together. I believe I have bored some of you with my stories. So let's talk about this. Why Asia? Why we should pay more attention in Asia? Why now? Most of Asian countries, in my perspective, are in a similar situation. So let's take Taiwan as an example. Democracy and civil society are still so young in Taiwan, and also in many other Asian countries. You may think, oh, Taiwan is very progressive. They already legalized same-sex marriage, and the people are very accept the diverse. But actually, we just lifted martial law 35 years ago. When I was 4, I was born within the martial law period of time. And Taiwan had the massacre incident during the White Terror period, which caused thousands more inhabitants imprisoned, vanished, and even died during the martial law period. We only started our direct presidential election in 1996, 26 years ago. We had tough moments and felt there was no future at all. Our parents' generation is still struggling during, after, due to the authoritarianism, and is in the healing process. But I believe the younger generation is ready to embrace a more liberal and free world. The society changes so quickly, but there was a time when people were hopeless and no one expected the changes could come any sooner, including me. But now when you look back, when you look at the history, from still having martial law 35 years ago to the victory of same-sex marriage in 2019, from one invitation from Jessica and Grace in 2014 to here I am in 2022, I realize every effort matters, even if it's a tiny one. So I invite all of you to be one of the little efforts for Asia. Asia is the biggest continent with many diverse language and cultures, but divisions, representation, and resources. Please be our support to make an effort and amplify the impact together. Of course, the journey is not easy at all. LGBT movement, any kinds of movement is not easy. It's so harsh, challenging, and painful. But my point is, the movement cannot achieve any goal without everyone's efforts, everyone's support and participation. We have come a long way together. Solidarity cannot be just a word, but an action. Tomorrow, we will have our Summit Asia for 2 days. 2 sessions for 2 days. The first day, we will have legal changes and also gender-based violence session. So for the second day, which is Friday, we will have a discussion about LGBT elders and also how can we take care of self to have a sustainability in our activist life. I hope you can invite your friends, your colleagues in Asia, or even yourself to join our discussion, our sharing, and let's amplify the impact together. Thank you so much for your attention.